to go over what I'm doing in this video, I'm going to be making a money washing script. It's going to take place over 2 episodes long, preferably. We'll see how it goes, but I just want to break it down into 2 episodes hopefully, and I just want to show you guys how someone that would be actually scripting, you know, a code for, you know, Esx would actually think, how the process would be. And I'm not, you know, advancing this. I don't know too much about it. All I know is I've been scripting for a couple of years, coding for a couple of years. I've been scripting for like a year or 2 in Lua, but I've been coding in JavaScript for a couple of years anyway, and C# and, you know, etc. So with all the boring stuff out of the way, let's just get right into it. Hey, and welcome back to the episode 3 of the scripting series. Now today we're going to jump right into Esx, and I've been thinking about it and I feel like it's the best option, mainly because at this point we're kind of at a point where we know the basics, the very basics, and I feel like the only way of learning how to do Esx is by just going head first into it. So I will be teaching new things along the way, and obviously new stuff. I'll be teaching new natives and all that, but I feel like it's best if I teach you it on Esx level. To get into this, we're going to do something different this time. Normally we create the files, but it's a lot easier. There's a thing called a boilerplate out there. It's called Esx Boilerplate, and it's just the base you need to start off with Esx. At the very basics, very bare minimum you need for Esx. And so to make sure this works, you do need ES_extended installed in your server. There's tons of videos out there to, you know, do it, so I'm not going to go over it. But if you go to the link in the description, you're going to find a link that brings you to this GitHub page down here. It's going to be called Esx_boilerplate. So what you want to do is you want to go down to here, or go over to here, and you want to click on clone or download. If you don't have the application to clone it, I'd recommend downloading it through the zip, obviously. So download it here, save. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to I'm going to open it in WinRAR. Now I'm going to rename this to I'm going to rename this to the script we're going to be making in this episode. So I'm going to rename this to money washing, but I'm making this for my server, so I'm going to do money wash. Okay, SRP-money wash. The reason it's SRP is because on my server it's costing no roleplay, and we have the initial SRP, so it's just like a little, you know, prefix for it. So open up SRP money wash now, and you're going to see client, server, editor config, fx manifest.lua, license, and readme. So you don't need editor config, license, and readme, so you can just delete them straight away. So I'm going to open up the FX manifest just to show you guys what's inside. So FX manifest is opened up, and you can see up here it says FX version is Atom Ant. Now the most recent version is Bodacious, so we're going to update it to Bodacious just to keep updated. The game, normally you're going to see in the template that we showed in, you know, earlier videos, the game was RDR3, which is Red Dead Redemption 2. Bit confusing, but yeah. And GTA 5, but we only need GTA 5 in this case because we're only coding for GTA 5. And then here, the boilerplate description, like we done before. So I'm going to do Sonora roleplay money washing system. So now there's one more thing we need to add. When you get into more complex scripts, it's generally a good idea to have a config file in case later down the road you want to change, you know, details about it, like a button to press or, you know, times, right? So what we want to do for a config is we want to go on to your folder, and here, not in the client, not in the server, the root directory, we're going to create a text document. Make sure you have extensions on, like I showed in the very first video, and we're going to call it config.lua. So now we have to go back into FX manifest, and depending on where you're going to use this, you only need to put it in one or the other, but we're going to be using it in both, so we're going to put it in both of them. As far as I know, we're going to be using it in both. I'm not really sure, but I definitely know we're going to use it in server scripts, so I'm just going to put it in both. It doesn't affect it. Now because this is in the root, directory, all you have to type is config.lua, and then ensure you have a comma next to it. Otherwise, it will not work, because this basically tells the code that this is a separate file from this file, and the code is only expecting one argument. It's not expecting two. So if you wrote that, it wouldn't work because it's only expecting one argument. Anyway, so basically we have server scripts config. So we just want to bring this down to client as well. And one thing is very important to make sure. You have to make sure that the config.lua is on the top of everything. Namely because the server may not Lua and the client may not Lua. They're going to be dependent on what is inside the config Lua. Okay. So in this tutorial, well, in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to focus on the client side. And what I want to do is I want to have a place for the character to go to. And they're going to have a notification. So I'm going to do a 3D text saying press E to wash your money or launder your money. And then it will take your dirty money and it will take a percentage off and give the rest of the percentage off to you, as if like a tax, So to do that, we're going to have to start off with client, because we need something to send to the server. We need to be able to talk to the server file. So we're going to head over to the client.lua. So main and open with Visual Studio Code. And you're going to see this. This is different than what you would have seen before. Now, save this, make sure that's saved, and this is different to what you would have seen before. This is called Esx player data, and then it's to create a thread. So basically it says while Esx is equal to nil, it's going to get the shared object Esx, which basically means it's going to get the directory of Esx, so you can use all the Esx functionality. And then when the player is loaded in, it will say that the player data up here is equal to the X player. So player data.job is equal to job, right? So you can set the job using this, because this gets your player data's job, and then you can equal it to whatever job you need. So this is setting server-side functions client-side. And this is actually something I haven't used frequently. I've only really discovered it recently, to be honest. And I'm going to be using to optimize my scripts more, but I need to look into it a bit more, because I'm not professional at this. I'm not, an expert at this. I've only been coding in FiveM for like a couple of months now, really. I started a year ago, but I stopped, so I've only been coding for like 2 months now, really. But I want to share what I know so far. Anyway, so from what I want is I want coordinates of where the money laundering place is going to be. So to get these coordinates, I want to make a thing called command. Like we discussed this. So register command. I'm going to type chords, because I need the chords. So it'll be /chords in game. And function end. So what I wanted to do is I want to just print out in the console of the entity's chords. So we're going to get what is it? I think it's get entity chords. And player ped ID. I think that's it. And then we're going to print it out. Printing basically means it just there's a console in FiveM, F8 console, and this will just write out your chords into the F8 console. We're going to go into game now to get the chords of the location. Alright guys, we're in the game now, and I have my location for where I want the money washing to be. So it's just in here. And I would like it to be... where do I want it to be? Back here? No, it'd probably make more sense to have it here. Now, before anyone says anything, I obviously know money laundering, money washing is not done in a washing machine, but like, it's a cool MLO, so I'm going to use it. Anyway, so what you want to do is because your command should work, so find the area where you want to launder the money. I want it to be here. I want this to be the area where you go to launder money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type /chords, and then press F8, and you should see this vector free. This is your coordinates, and I just copy it and I bring it back into the Visual Studio Code. Alright, now I'm in Visual Studio Code. I have my config file opened because I'm doing this in a config. And to start the config, we want to type this config equal to and the curly brackets. Now, one thing you may or may not notice is we don't have local before config. That is because for my research I've done, I'm not 100% sure, but for my research, local makes the variable in a localized scope, meaning it only works in that script or function or whatever you declare it. It means it'll work wherever in your files it will work, because it does not have it's not localized, it's a global scope. So now we have the config object or hash created, I'm not really sure what to call it. I'm going to type config dot, okay, so config dot location equal to, and I'm going to paste in my vector, okay. So basically what this does is says config is equal to location, and location is equal to vector, vector. That's what it means, but it looks nicer to have it this way. It looks more neat, it looks more tidy. So we're gonna go back to the main file now. Alright, so now that we're in here, we no longer need this, so we're going to remove it, or comment it out, but I'm going to remove it. So now go to the comment section below and you will see this function in the comments. Just copy and paste it, and I'll explain it a bit here, but you shouldn't need to know all this. Reason being is because you're probably just going to end up copying and pasting it the entire time. You don't need to know it, but if you want to know it, you can. You can look into it. I'll just explain it very briefly. So what this does is it gets the coordinates of the text, and here it unpacks your camera coordinates, and I'm pretty sure relative to your camera coordinates it places the text. So look, rotation wise, all that. Here it sets the text scale. I'll talk about it in a minute. Set text font. So that is, in GTA there's a couple of fonts that you can use. Just some that's cursive, some that's big blocky characters and whatever. I'm using 4 because I think that's the nicest looking one. Set text proportional. I just put that to 1. Text entry. Set text entry to string. It has to be string. It has to be in all caps. Set text center is just self-explanatory if you want it to be center. Set text color, this is just making it white. And just to preface this, just because it's white does not mean it can't be yellow in certain parts. We'll go over that in a minute, but you set the default, it will be white. Add text component string. So this is just adding the actual the text itself, and that is text because we are bringing the text variable in. And then draw the text on the coordinates XY relative to your camera, and then factor. The factor is just defining relative to how long the text is, how wide the rectangle should be, and then that's just drawing a rectangle behind the text to give it a bit more of an outline, so it stands out more. Now that we're inside this, we want to make a citizen dot create thread, and then we want to do function in parentheses and then end, as we've done before. Now, since not create thread, it uses a single core thread on your computer. That's all you really need to know for now. In the future, you can look into more optimization. I'm just after finding about some optimization with this, so I need to know more before I can teach you guys more. So just follow what I'm doing. While true, we've done this before. While true, do end. So we're making an infinite loop, and we do a citizen dot wait. Now with the text, it's really weird how it works, but sometimes you can wait all the way up to 5 milliseconds. Other times it has to be 1 or 0, but we can test this out. I'll do 5, or no, I'll do 4. I'll do 4 because 5 sometimes is a bit weird, but 4 is usually a sweet number to go by. So we can do draw 3D text, right, on the XYZ. So we need the XYZ. And to get the XYZ, we defined it. We defined it here in the config. So what we do is this represents X, this represents Y, and this represents Z. Right. So to get this, all we need to do is type config dot location. Actually, because we're going to be using it more than once, all we need to do is go here and go to the top just before the while true loop. Make sure it's before the while true loop, because we don't want it to run every single time. There's no point for that, because it's not moving. There's no point. So we do local location is equal to this. Now, I really wanna, I need to preface this, and you have to, understand this, the reason why. We're not putting in a while true loop, because if we do, it will, repeatedly, every 4 milliseconds, run this code, and it's not needed. So it will cause, delay, it will cause lag, unnecessary lag. It's not needed. So it's just a more optimized way of doing it. In here, we can remove this, and here we can draw the text. So we can do location, lowercase, because I said location in lowercase, its variable name is location, dot x, because I'm getting the x, and then location dot y, and location dot z, and so on. So now we want to do the string. So in the string, I would like it to say press E to wash money. Now when we do this in game, it's going to be press E to wash money, and I want to put emphasis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the tilde key. So tilde, 2 tilde keys, and then in the middle I'm going to type Y for yellow, Y, or if we do this R will be red, but I want to make it yellow, so yellow is Y. Has to be surrounded by 2 tilde keys, because that's just the way the code works. Now after E, I want to do W, because that's white. Some people do G because they use a grey, but white for me. And then here I'm going to do wash money, and I'm going to remove this full stop. Now this will basically say white. This will be white and it said press. This will be yellow, and this will say E. And then this will say be white, and this will say 2, and this is be yellow and say wash money. So now let's just see if it works. Save it and put it into your game. So I made one quick mistake. I forgot to do the scale. So we just want to do comma, and my go-to is 0.4. So now we're going to bring it to the game. Press F8, go to console, and type restart srp-money wash. And now you're going to see this. It'll say press E to wash money, like we said earlier. Now the issue with this is if I go all the way over here, I can see this, and that does not look very secretive to anyone. I mean, you're walking out here going to the shop and you see wash money, you'd be interested in what it means. So what you want to do is we want a distance, and we want to check how far the player is from the distance, and if the player is a certain limit from the distance, it will wash the money. It'll show the text wash money. So because this is inside of a thread and it's waiting every 4 milliseconds, we do not need to wait 4 milliseconds. That's way too fast for any player, right? So all we need to do is make another thread, system.create thread, and then a function end. Okay, so up here we're going to make a variable, and we're going to do is near equal false, because default it will be false. And here we're going to do a while true do end, and we're going to do citizen dot wait, and let's say 500 milliseconds, half a second. And then what we do is we type, alright, so you want to type if vdist, and in parentheses. Now up here we want to type local player, or local ped is equal to player ped id, because we're going to be using this multiple times. What we're going to do is we're going to say if vdist, and under here we're going to do a local chords, because we will also be using chords multiple times, sorry about that. Get entity chords, and then ped, because we're calling this instead of this. So local ped. So back to it again. If vdist chords and comma, and then what we want to do is we want to do config.location is less than, if the distance between the chords and the location, like your player chords and the location, is less than a certain number. So I'm going to do it in the config file in case I ever want to change this in the future. So config.distance is equal to, my go-to is really about 5 to 8-ish maybe. So I'll do 8 just to see what it looks like, but it usually is 5 as far as I know. So config.distance, then end. So what it says is if the distance between the player and the text is less than 8 meters, then what it will do is is near is equal to true. And here we'll replace the end with else. So else, and then is near is equal to false. So if the player is less than or equal to the distance, is near is true. Else, if they're greater than that, it will be false. Up here, instead of while true, we'll type while is near. Alright, so I made a little error. For some reason, it does not want to take in the if is near is equal to true. So like while is near is equal to true do. So all you just need to do is instead of having this while is near, put it back to while true do, and then here you want to type if is near then end. Okay. Alright, so now restart your script, and then start walking towards your place. And you don't see the text? Now you do. Now, personally for me, it's a bit too far, so I'm going to change that to maybe 5. And yeah, so we're going to go back into Visual Studio Code and make the changes. So I've changed this to 5. Now, what I want to do is I want to check down here if vdist chords config.location is less than 1, then end. So basically what I'm checking here is I'm saying if the player is less than a meter from the location, it will do whatever. So just to test this, we're going to do print hello. Alright, bring us back into the game. Alright, now that we're into the game, you can look in the console, it's very clear. If I go to here, right on it, it would say hello, 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 and so on. But if I go back out, it won't say hello. So no updates, alright? Okay, good. That's what I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen for a key press, and when the key press does something, it will react to it. So go back into the Visual Studio Code. Alright, so now that we have this done, what we want to do is we want to go up here to where it says system not wait for, and we want to type this. Alright, so I made a small mistake. Up here we're not using the variable chords because we moved up, and since we are only going to be using it in here once, I think it makes sense to do get entity chords ped. We can use ped because we defined, actually we can't use ped. So what we'll just do is player ped ID. Alright, so that is that. We can actually, what we can do is we can use ped because we can define ped up here. So we can use ped. Alright, now we can bring back into the game. Alright, now that you have everything restarted, if you press E, you will see testing. E, testing. Now, notice that it's not printing constantly, it's just doing it when I press E. That's what we want. Alright guys, this video is going to be pretty long, so it will be broken into multiple parts. Right now, we have the client side done for the most part, and the next video, we're going to do the server side. Now, what we're going to do in the server side is we're going to do tax, okay? And then we're going to check the player's check the player's inventory and see if they have dirty money. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wash the dirty money. If there's enough dirty money in here, we're going to wash the dirty money, and then it'll give back to the player with tax taken off of. But it might not have enough money, because what we're going to add a system where once every 10 minutes it will add money into the money launder, so players can't abuse the fact that they can wash money. Basically, it will have to be a timed thing. It'll have to be something that you have to plan out, and you have to make sure there's enough money in here before you can wash it. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Next video is going to be tomorrow. Hope you guys like it. And yeah, all links will be in the description below. And this is the first of many videos on Esx. I hope you guys are ready to learn a lot about Esx and have a good time.